Right, so this video is going to be going through a worksheet that I normally give out to students in class. Okay, so we're gonna just start one question at a time. This page should have been posted. If not, please let me know. Sometimes I forget things, but you should have that available. Okay, so let me just move this a bit, a better surface. So the first question mine is write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. So I hope that before you watch this, you've tried the worksheet. If not, maybe pause, work through the whole thing. Make sure you show everything algebraically. You show the proper steps because I'm going to be looking for that, not just the final answer. All right. And so the test will be basically just a document, a PDF that you'll open and you can answer everything on loose leaf. I would suggest you print, but I know that that's not an option for all of you. So have some graph paper ready, okay? Have some graph paper ready. You can cut it out and you can just paste it in. And please, when you take pictures of your work, make sure that it is legible, it is easy to see, because sometimes I've had cases because I'm going to print them again and mark them on paper. All right, so here we go. We're going to write the following in slope intercept form. So 3x minus 2y equals 16. What form is that right now? Technically, if you remember, this is actually in standard form, not general. But we don't care. We just want to rewrite this into slope intercept. So what we do is I bring the 3x over. So it's negative 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 16. We're going to divide everything by 2. And y, oh, I'm going to divide by negative 2, sorry. Because I want y to be positive, right? So that'd be 3 over 2 positive, and it's 16 divided by negative 2, that's negative 8. Okay, so you're done. Your slope is this, positive, your y-intercept is negative 8. Next question, B. And that one is also standard form, but we don't care. We want to rewrite it. So we have 13x minus 11y is equal to negative 12. And so negative 11 is equal to negative 13, because I'm bringing the 13x over, and the 12 is already negative. Sorry, this is supposed to be y, divided by negative 11. And you end up with positive y is equal to 13 over 11x, and this will be positive 12 over 11. And yeah, it's not what you're used to seeing, but you can't simplify any of that, so that's it. And number 2a. 2 says write the general form, right? So they're asking for a specific form of the equation of a line with the following information. There's a point that it goes through, and the slope is 7. There's a slope and a point. I would always, if this is not the y-intercept, I would always go point slope. Okay, so 2a, we're gonna go knowing that, so y minus 2 is equal to slope, which is 7, and this is x minus x1, and you change the sign of both, right? Change the sign of 1 and 2 when you bring them into the equation, and the slope is 7. And they want it in general form, so we'll do that. So I distribute here, y minus 2 is equal to 7x minus 7. I bring the 2 over adding, so that ends up, oh wait, I am in a wrong question here. Caught myself, that's okay. General, not y-intercept, general. So we're gonna bring everything over to this side because that's really what we want. So negative 7x plus y minus 2 plus 7 is equal to 0. So there it is. We're gonna write it negative 7x plus y plus 5 is equal to 0, and you need to have a positive, right? So we're just going to change the sign of everything, and there it is, right? And B, we're asked to, right, P is 3, -1, and slope is -1, and we want the general form of the equation of the following line. No problem. Keep in mind, like I always like to go off and extend. What if they had said, state the general form of the equation of a line that is perpendicular to this one? Well, you kind of approach it the same way, except for you're not taking the slope as is. You would have to say, well, let's take the negative reciprocal and plug that into the equation and then go from there. So here we're going to go y plus 1, because y1 is negative, minus 1, and this is x minus 3. Y plus 1 is equal to negative x plus 3. And we bring everything over to this side. So that'd be x plus y. And this would be negative 3 coming over plus 1. That's negative 2 is equal to 0. And you're done, right? You're done there for that question. And let's keep going then. Question 3, write the slope point form of the following described lines, then convert them to slope intercept form. So we have A, we want it to pass through 4, 2, and is parallel to y is equal to negative 3 over 4x minus 5. Okay, so we want it to be parallel to this equation and go through this point. Okay, so we have to start with a point, and if you want a parallel slope, you need it to have the same slope as what this equation has, right? And we're gonna go y minus y1, x minus x1. Okay, you want it in a slope slope point, sorry, first, and now we're gonna rewrite it to slope intercept. Okay, so when there's a fraction, you might want to just multiply, right, both sides by 4. Okay, so what that does is it cancels out that denominator there. So you have 4y minus 8, right? You distribute this, is equal to, and let's distribute this out to negative 3x plus 12, right? And we want to isolate for y in this case. So 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 12 plus 8, right? The 8 comes over adding. That's 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 20. And then last step is we divide everything by 4. And over here we have that y is equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 5. And it has a different y-intercept. So it is parallel, it's a different line. So there it is. And 3b, we have that a line passes through b, negative 3, 3, and is perpendicular to y is equal to 7 over 3 x plus 3. All right, so that means that we want a slope that's perpendicular would be the opposite sign and flipped. That's the slope we need. Okay, so we're going to go y minus y1, which is 3, right? And then slope is negative 3 over 7 x minus x1, so that turns it into a positive, right? And in this case, I'll multiply both sides by 7, and that cancels out these two 7s here. So that's 7y minus 21 is equal to negative 3x minus 9, right? You distribute brackets, you always need to distribute. and we want it in slope intercept. So 7y is equal to negative 3x minus 9 plus 21, and that gives us 7y is equal to negative 3x, and that would be 12, positive. So the last step is to divide everything by 7, and you get y is equal to negative 3 over 7x plus 12 over 7. Okay, and you're done. And just on a side note, because I know a question like this came up earlier, you could have, or, right, this is just an aside, you could have actually just started with this. Well, if you want a line that's perpendicular to that one, I can just use the slope-intercept form, right, plus b. We don't know what b is. And then we plug in this point into this equation and solve for b, and then we should end up with the same situation. So it's really up to you. For me personally, I always like to use the point slope form. Sorry, point slope point. I mix them up. I use the slope point form because I have the slope and I have a point and then work it out. But you could have used it this way, right? So you plug in. You have to be careful you don't change the sign on this one. So y is 3, negative 3 over 7, and x is negative 3 plus b, right? And then you end up with 3 is equal to positive 9 over 7 plus b, okay? And then you would just subtract, right? So I'm going to continue here. 3 minus 9 over 7 is equal to b, and that would be 21 minus 9 over 7 is equal to b, and that ends up being 12 over 7 is equal to b. So now you found that y-intercept that you needed to come up with the equation. Therefore, y is equal to negative 3 over 7x plus 12 over 7. So that's like an or. It's really, you have to understand that these are all connected, right? If you do the algebra right, we're talking about the same line here. Okay, so let's see if we fit this in. So we're 4a is asking us to write the equation of a line in general form that passes through these points and describe your strategy. We really mean just show your work there. Remember, what do you need for an equation? For an equation, you need two things. You need the slope and you need a point. That's what you need. So out of these 2 points, I can find the slope, right? Slope between these two would be y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And so that would be 5 minus negative 7. Remember, be careful. These two have to be there. In fact, I always like to put them down first. And then it's x1 minus negative 3, right? And so that ends up being 5 plus 7, and that is 1 plus 3, which turns out to be 12 over 4, and that is 3, right? So the slope of GH is 3. We figured that out, okay? Now we're going to come up with the equation. Which point are you going to choose? It doesn't matter. I'm going to choose this one here, right? Choose H. So then it would be y minus 5 is equal to 3 x minus 1. And you want it in general form. So I'll rewrite it without, I'm going to pause it and just rewrite it. Okay, so there it is, rewritten. And this will be describing your strategies. You're finding a slope and you're choosing H. And because if you chose the other point, you get a different answer, right? For this initial, right? For this initial, the general form will still be the same. Okay, so that's it for this video.